Well, we have a block in the details part of GCAD Plus that you can use when you are checking your design for ease of access. Say, imagine someone is going to use this design and is wheelchair bound, and you can take this block, and the block contains within a circle a convenient and full manoeuvring zone for someone in a wheelchair. And you can use that as a design aid. We don't need these front and side views. What we're interested in doing is using this block to make sure that there's enough space for manoeuvring. Well, I've switched the view to a dark background, and what we'll now do is turn off the layer of the paving, which is on L hatch. So L hatch is turned off and that disappears. So if we move, the red circle gives us, in a sense, complete freedom in a wheelchair. So if we move this one across, and I've got polar on so I can stay in that line, what we want, what we're after, is a design where if you're in a chair, things will work easily for you. I'll just hit escape and move and try again. So I'm just designing, if you like, by eye, and that looks pretty reasonable. So what I then would do is draw a line from that intersection, and we'll go perpendicular and see if we can cut off that rather awkward angular section. So it's line, and we'll start at this intersection, and then we'll go vertically down like so, and then we can hit escape, get rid of that. So we want to trim off this section. So modify and trim. The cutting edge will be this one, and we'll remove that section, and then we'll remove this section, and we can repeat that command. This will be the cutting edge, and trim off that one, and we'll move this one. We can just move it back orthogonal, so we can either delete these, or to make it look maybe a little more realistic, we could scale this one, bring it down a bit, and then copy it, say in this area down here, and we could just remove that one. So now we have our entrance here, so we can come in. We check here, there's just enough room, but we're going to need to, that's interesting, isn't it? What that's telling me is this design is not going to be wheelchair friendly. We've just created a zone in there where our wheelchair bound person is completely free to do what they want, and we're going to trim that little bit off. But what we've just established is that although this one can move around, and we can enter from, we're entering from the house in this direction, plenty of clearance there, plenty of clearance there. If some of the furniture is moved, we can move there and come around, and we can use the fireplace there. But once we get here and need to move there, that's relatively tight. But where we strike trouble is this corner. It's going to be very difficult to manoeuvre. And now that we've made that one there, I'd suggest we need to make a similar area here and repeat that one. Well, the problems that I ran into as we were testing that wheelchair circle caused me to change the design and redesign it. So I now have an area up at this top point. I've bitten into the garden a little, and now we can access all of this area. And let me move back to our white background, and we'll remove the guide that helped us. And there the design is fairly similar to what we had before. It's still a very formal design, but now it allows for people in wheelchairs to move easily through it and enjoy this area with a fire pit. And we would have to move some of the furniture a little, but now I'm happy. I think now, looking at it, there's a design for that path within a garden with a very acute angle. I would redesign this to match the design on that section that we've just been playing with. So your design, your space, your model space where we are at the moment is full size, and we can try out various objects and entities that represent real world objects like furniture and other components, and make sure that they all work. So I'm a lot happier now that wheelchair access is much better in the site than it was before. So we're still moving on with this template, getting it to a point where we'll be able to blow away the design and just keep this area and maybe one or two notes, so we can move forward. If we go now to the concept design layout, and I'll right click and zoom extents, I'm beginning to work my way through adding design notes now: tall, narrow canopy, path check for wheelchair manoeuvring and so on, and I'll work my way around, and this will go to the client as a fully detailed but not specified in terms of plants. And we've named this concept design A3L, so that gives us an indication of the sheet that we can print on, very sheet size that we can print off very easily. So we move on, testing our template.